Hi, it's Beastly Eel with Eel Talk Episode 7, and today we're talking about WandaVision Episode 7. And let me just tell you this, if you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing and watch it right now. I mean, you need to. Alright, so Episode 7, there's a lot to unpack. So, just like always, I'm going to talk about the episode, and then I'm going to talk about as much as I can about what I think's happening, because at this point, not a clue. Not even a little bit anymore. Like I have a good idea overall, but my mind is just blown. All right. So the episode kind of is like office theme because Wanda's breaking the fourth wall. For those of you who don't know what the fourth wall is, it's the barrier between the fake world and the real world. So she talks to the camera a lot in this episode. Um, and while she's doing that, it's a lot about how she's talking about her feelings and how she's very fine, but like not fine. It's odd. So she starts off the episode with her in bed trying to just sleep it off because it's apparently the night right after Halloween, or at least the Halloween spectacular. The boys are downstairs playing video games, and their video games start to change. Um, at one point, it's a GameCube controller, a joystick, then Uno cards. It kept switching. So they go upstairs to kind of get mom to fix it, and mom's like, "Mom just needs some time," because Wanda definitely seems to be much more depressed, obviously depressed. She's trying to hide it, but she's not doing a good job. So anyway, she tells the boy she needs some time. So they go back downstairs, and they don't know what to do. Well, Wanda comes down, and she's trying to get uh, breakfast for herself. While this is happening, things start to change. And what I mean by that is like certain parts of the house um, start to phase in and out. This is noticed first with the milk. The milk turns to different like versions of the milk. Like it's the same milk, but like from different decades. Glass bottle, plastic bottle, milk carton, all the above. Wanda's trying to figure it out, but at the same time, I don't think she is. But she's noticing things are going weird, and potentially that she's losing control. So she sits down with the boys, and she's eating her cereal. And then Agnes comes in. She gets cued in because she's going to help the boys out. So she goes, "Oh, let's give mommy a mommy day." And they're like, "Okay." So they leave with her and they say, "Well, who's going to watch mommy?" And she's like, "I can handle myself. I'm fine, boys." And Billy says something, though, right before this um, that's relevant later. He goes, There's a lot of voices. The voices are all around me. I think that has to do with his telepathic abilities that he kind of got inherited from his mother, where he can hear everyone's thoughts and fears, which again becomes a problem. So Agnes takes the boys away, and Wanda gets to sit and relax and enjoy things. And that's when things start to snap around her. Things all around her start to change, and she can't control it. So anyway, we get back to the outside world where Sword is trying to make a new base. Um, it's pretty close. I want to say it's the same distance as it was the first base, which didn't work out for well for them the first time. It's probably not going to do well for them this time. So they're trying to set everything up, trying to figure out what's going on. Um, they don't really know what's going on. They know people are in there, and they're not going to be able to get them out anytime soon. So what we see next is, which this is what really throws me off, is we get put in back into the world, but we get put into the carnival where Vision is. Vision wakes up and he's like, "Whoa!" And we see, we assume, because we don't know, because they don't all look the same. all sword agents being in a carnival. And we see Darcy chained up, and she's supposed to be the escape artist, which I found a little funny, mostly because she was chained up before she gets sucked in. So Vision's trying to trying to communicate with her and like, hey, I know who you are. You were the one that was trying to save me. We locked eyes. And she's freaked out, and it's supposed to be a comedy thing, and it's definitely a little funny. Then the strong man comes in, and he's like, oh, you must be the new clown. You already got your makeup on. Let's get going. And Vision's like, no, 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 you got the wrong guy. So he does his mind manipulation, or mind release, I guess you'd call it, on Darcy, and she realizes, like, oh, she's back to reality. Well, her mind is anyway. And she was, oh my gosh, I'm in it. She's like, I'm finally in it. Like, what the heck? She makes a comment, which I still find funny. She's like, oh, I wanted to have like a guest spot in this show, but I really am not thrilled with what happened. So the two of them leave together. Um, and they es- escape the carnival, and they're driving away. And Darcy's explaining to Vision pretty much everything that's going on, like everything that's happened that he can't remember. So he's kind of understanding what's going on. Now, while this is going on, Vision is also seen outside the vehicle, sitting in a chair, talking about what's going on. And it's just very weird. Um, and so they're trying to get going, and now construction happens. They hit every red light. There's a children crossing. This happens throughout the whole episode because they kind of go back and forth. And Vision's like, I think Wanda really doesn't want me to see her right now. So Monica's really, I'm not Monica, sorry. Whoa, I was way off on that one. But actually, we'll talk about Monica while I'm thinking about it. We go back to the outside where it's Monica and Agent Wu, and the two of them are in their vehicle talking, and they figure out exactly what Sword was hiding. It was the fact that they were trying to awaken Vision to become a weapon for them. And he was trying to bring him back to life, but it didn't work. It didn't work until Wanda put him into the hexagon, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, we see that this comes in the sense of like Monica's realizing, oh, that's why they've been so focused on trying to figure out what's going on and why they were so focused on watching Vision, which was a key thing in the last episode that they were watching Vision, figuring out where he was at all times. And they realize that they need to figure out how to stop it. So they get to this other base, and it's another sword base that Monica called a favor in to get done. Now in it, they have a full-on, exactly what she asked for, truck, van, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but it's armored, and it's supposed to be strong enough to deal with whatever Wanda's going to dish out. So we see her get ready, get all suited up, looks like space suit. She gets in and she drives right into that hexagon. Well, reality starts to manipulate it and it starts to turn into like one of those vans. So she gets out before she gets changed too. So she jumps out of there and it gets shot out and it's half van, half the armored truck. It's very odd. So she runs in. Nobody's happy about it, but she runs in and she's forcing herself in. And this is where we see that she's got some powers. So she starts to like get split up into what looks like several bodies of herself, like several versions of herself. Um, and then we hear kind of her mom talking. We hear Carol Danvers talking, aka Captain Marvel talking. So we kind of hear all that going on, and then she gets put back together, and her eyes are blue, and she gets shot out into the hexagon, and she's clearly got some powers. What we see when she has her blue eyes, though, is she can see the energy. She can see, I don't want to say it's reality, but she can see the energy, I guess is the best way to put it. We'll say energy for now. I have a theory later. So Monica then goes running. Yeah, we're in Agatha's house. I'm sorry, Agnes's house. I give something away. We'll have to wait and see. So Agnes comes in. We're at Agnes's house, and the kids are kind of enjoying their time with Agnes, and they're petting the bunny. And then Billy says something. He was, Agnes, I like it here. It's quiet. You're quiet on the inside. Very important to hear. Very needed to be known. So she says, well, I'm happy too, boys. And that's the end of that scene. So Monica comes running out, goes into the door where the whole house has been spazzing out, going into different decades. And Monica goes, Vision's dead. We need to work together and stop the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. from making Vision a weapon. And Wanda hits her with her magic and shoots her out of the house. And Monica's fighting back, sort of. I'm not quite sure if she's fighting back or she's resisting. It's not quite clear. She breaks free and she falls down, and her eyes are blue again. And it looks like they're about to fight because Monica's basically telling her, "I know what you're going through. I know what it's like to lose somebody close to you, and there's nothing you can do. But you can't suppress that feeling. You have to talk about it. You have to let it out. It doesn't just go away. You need to use it as a strength, not as a weakness." And the two of them look like they're about to fight. And that's when Agnes sees what's going on, and she goes outside. Agnes comes in, it's like convinces Wanda to go into her house. She's like, "Let's leave her alone. Haven't you done enough, Monica?" And she lets her, and Monica goes. Wanda goes with Agnes into her house, and Monica's not quite sure what to do. So we go back to Vision and Darcy. Vision's realizing, wait a minute, why am I still talking to the camera? I need to figure out what's going on with my wife. So he phases through the van and goes flying, what I assume is to the house. Darcy just stays there because she can't do nothing. We get to inside Agnes's house with Wanda. Wanda's looking around. She's noticing things are strange. She's like, Agnes, where are the boys? Oh, they must be playing in the basement. Must be playing in the basement. She's acting really creepy. Very creepy. So Monica goes down to the basement, and the basement is the most creepiest dungeon-looking basement I've ever seen. It is like a tunnel she has to walk through, and she gets to this area. Now she's trying to call her sons, and none of them are around. And there's these vines everywhere. Very dark, very creepy, very. So Wanda gets down there, and it is the creepiest place I've ever seen. And there's a spell book. I'm calling it a spell book. We don't know for a fact if it's a spell book, but let's be honest. It's a spell book. I'm calling it. I don't care if I'm wrong. And it's up there, and it looks like it's radiating energy. And Agnes comes down, and she goes, "What did you think, Wanda? You were the only magical being here." "I am too." And she starts to play like this purple ball, kind of very similar to Wanda's, but it's purple. And Wanda's kind of like confused at what's going on, and she does a spell on Wanda, and her eyes kind of turn purple because her magic's purple. And we see that Agatha was controlling everything. She is Agatha Harkinson. I was correct. I was correct. I was correct. I was correct. And she was controlling everything. We see her manipulating everything, and she's got Peter under her control. So, and it was they do a big like montage of how it was Agatha all along, and that's how I think the episode ends. That's how I think the episode ends. And then this is the first time there is a mid-credit scene in this episode, and it's Monica getting to the house where she opens up the, not storm cellar, bulkhead. Had to think about it, sorry. And she puts her blue eyes on, and she can see this purple radiating energy, which is very similar to Agatha's magic we've now seen. And it's in the vines. And Quicksilver comes, and it's the Quicksilver we've seen from this series so far. So it's the X-Men one. I say it like that because we're not quite sure. And he goes, Snoop's gonna snoop. And that's the end of the episode. Okay. Okay. A lot to unpack. I'm sorry. Agatha was Agnes the whole time. Agnes was Agatha the whole time. She was a witch controlling everything. But, I don't think she's the one in control of everything. I think she is for this moment. I think she has a master, and I still think it's Mephisto because the kids are gone. Why else would the kids be gone? Because she sucked the souls out and gave it to Mephisto. That's what I'm thinking. I, that's where my mind's going right now. That's what I'm going to stick with for right now until I'm proven wrong. She, Agatha, took out the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe because Agatha can't bring people back from the dead, brought him in to replace Pedro to manipulate Wanda even further than she already has. So it's still a possibility that that's the X-Men Quicksilver and the multiverse exists. Now, granted, we have a feeling it obviously exists because the second Doctor Strange movie is called into the multiverse. But anyway, that being said, so many thoughts now. So the possibility that the X-Men universe is a separate universe and she's brought it in still kind of exists, especially now that we know that Agatha is controlling Quicksilver. Monica has her powers, and Monica can see energy. And I think that's going to be a big factor later on because I think we're going to see that there's going to be another energy there. And it's going to be Mephisto. I really think it's Mephisto. Really, really think so. Um, yeah, I think the boys are gone. I think they're either gone or ready to be sacrificed. I'm not sure which yet. My thought on the hexagon, because I have a theory on that. Hexagon has six sides. There's six infinity stones. I don't know. It could be just a coincidence, but it's my thought. Um, and they they yeah, I just a lot to unpack and I apologize. But yeah, that episode just hit me hard. There's two episodes left and I I don't know. There's got to be more. I think they're gonna introduce Mephisto still, and yeah, I still think that's a thing. I think the kids are already gone or be ready to be sacrificed. Monica's captured by Quicksilver. Vision is gonna come to the rescue or to be attacked in the next episode. Not quite sure. But yeah, if you haven't seen that episode and you watched all this, man, you need to watch it because it was an amazing episode. Disney and Marvel have done an amazing job, 100% with this one. Not that they weren't to begin with, but man, did they really mess with your mind the entire series so far. But if you liked what you've seen, please like and subscribe. I'm also going to be doing some, as I've been doing, talking about all the Marvel shows, I'm going to be bringing up Death Battle from Death Battle. My thoughts on who's going to win and stuff, but that won't be until March when they air season 10, their biggest season. So make sure you watch Death Battle and WandaVision. One on Disney Plus, which is WandaVision, and the other one on YouTube, which is Death Battle. Recommend both. but that's later in the future. But once again, this is Beastly Eel signing out, and thank you again for watching. Good night.